Ditto and I just got back from the Pokemon Resort. And I gotta say, our trip was not long enough. Look at Ditto. He needs more time to relax. Look at this face.
I'm supposed to start working here today. My name is Haru.
So yes, friends, I watched Pokémon Concierge. Now let's freaking talk about it. First things first, I want a game like this. I want a buddy like this. I want to be Psyduck, but I can't because that's Uptown Duck's spirit animal. But also, should Duck and I do a Psyduck and Haru cosplay? Because I feel like that needs to happen. That needs to happen, right? Let me know in the comments. Okay, so we're gonna talk about the pros, and then we're gonna talk about the cons, and then I'm gonna tell you my overall thoughts. Let's start off with some of the things that I loved. This show is so cute. It is super cute. Everything about it is just so adorable. It's the wholesomest show I feel like I've seen. It's also coming at a time for me in my life where I just feel like in some ways I'm feeling really lost and like I'm feeling some of the bleakness of humanity. I'm usually a pretty optimistic person, but lately I haven't been feeling the most optimistic. Neither has Ditto, which is why we had to go to the Pokemon Resort and go visit in Pokemon Concierge. And this is a show that really helps you to see the magic of the world. It uplifts you. There's a wholesomeness to this show. It's honestly slice of life magic. I feel like we don't normally get Pokemon stories like this, which is what makes it so cool and so unique. Apparently, when they were developing this story, it was a risk that they wanted to sort of just dip their toes in and see if people like it. Because normally with Pokemon, we've always had some game element. There's always been battling in some way. Even in Detective Pikachu, which is a story that is, more of just a standalone story. It's an adventure, super fun. There is combat of some kind. There is a fight, And this really has none of that. But that's what makes it so amazing. But the really cool thing is that this doesn't have fighting in it, because something that's really interesting about Pokemon is just, it's such a cool world, and the Pokemon are so interesting, not just as our buddies who we can use to do combat like in the card game or in the video games, but as nature and as our friends. And so it's fun to kind of learn about the nature of these creatures that are fantastical that we get to see in the game. And that's really where Pokemon Concierge, I think, shines. The world building is all about exploring who these Pokemon are to the characters in the show, the human characters, but also who these Pokemon are in terms of their own character development and evolution. Not that they evolve. Well, some of them evolve. I'm not going to spoil anything. It makes you want to go to the Pokemon Resort as well. It's just so detailed, and every element of it, every corner of the frame feels like they really thought about, what does this look like? What does this feel like to be here? I mean, they even thought really about the texture of these Pokemon, something that we don't see often in media because it's a 2D image. So because with the claymation things are three-dimensional, there's a lot of thought about like, what would the texture of this Pokemon be? What would it feel like to touch this Pokemon and pet it? And you see that in the show. You also see so many design elements that tie back into Pokemon and are clearly inspired by them in just the set design. It's a plethora of fun little patterns and little decorations where every time you go back and you watch, and this is something they wanted to instill, you should see something new. I definitely think this is an extremely rewatchable series. I can imagine myself rewatching it and reaching for it during times when I'm feeling sad, during times when I just want something that's easygoing and makes me feel happy and positive in the world. It could be when I'm sad, it could be when I'm super happy as well. I feel like I'll just watch it because I love it so much. The relatability as well of the characters that are in the show, it's oddly like, I don't want to say completely realistic, because it is still fantastical and it's so wholesome. Doesn't have the gritty element of real life, but the characters feel kind of deep in a way. They definitely have archetypes to them, but they also speak in a way that makes you feel like they're real people. Haru is an especially interesting character as our main character, someone that is very hardworking, but who seems to constantly sell herself short because I think she's had bad luck in life and she just feels like, is she the problem? She finds it hard to relax because she's so hardworking, and she has a tendency to overthink things, and as a result can get anxious. I personally really relate to a character like this. I feel like I am a person who really strives to work really hard in life and then constantly is questioning if I'm worthy of things. So to see a character like this, wow, why is this gonna make me cry? But to see a character like this, it's okay, Ditto. To see a character like this go on a journey where she has to learn how to relax and appreciate that sometimes you don't have to make everything so big. You can do a small gesture and it can mean so much, is really powerful. I feel like in a world where we're all constantly going and I don't think any of us really take enough breaks, it's really powerful to see a character like this and see that journey. I think it's really important, honestly. We all need to slow down more. Me, Ditto, you, we all need to slow down more. And I think that's what Pokémon Concierge kind of reminds us of, the importance of having fun and relaxing, because we deserve it, you know? We all work hard. You work hard. If you're watching this, take a little break. Do something for yourself today. That's what this show taught me. So the characters, the story, there's a lot to love here. The details, the set design, exploring just the world of Pokemon. The voice acting is also really great, and I just love how simplistic this series is. It's very easygoing. It's very simple. And yet, in the simplicity is where the depth lies, if that makes sense. So what are the things I didn't like about it? Number one, it's too gosh darn short. But I also acknowledge that with this type of animation style, obviously it takes a long time to develop, and this was their first foray into this type of story. So I think Pokemon wanted to keep it smaller just to see if we liked it. And guess what? I like it. I want a whole game like it. I want more episodes. Give me more of this. So I don't know if we'll get more of it, but I would personally really love it if they decided to give us some more. And the other downside, the only other negative that I have to say, is if you're watching this, while the dub has fantastic voice work still in it, you gotta watch the sub. It's just superior by far because we're dealing with this claymation style. We're dealing with stop motion, and when you have that type of animation, the mouths, it's really hard to sync them up, and it was really noticeable when we put on the dub and watched it. I was like, I want to do the dub because I like the voices, but I can't do it. We gotta do the sub. However, the good news is the voices are also amazing, so there's really no downside. This is very nitpicky, and there's not much you can do about it unless you're gonna do the whole thing for each language with the mouths, which is too much. Don't do that. I don't think it's necessary. Watch either, but just know that the sub, I would say, by far is superior. You know what's interesting about Pokémon Concierge? You know what it's just like laid back vibes remind me of? It reminds me of Pokemon Snap. I initially thought it was called Pokemon Safari, but I looked it up and apparently it's just Pokemon Snap. And I remember in, I don't know, the 2000s, I think, playing the original game. I think there's a new one now. I haven't played that one. But you just go around and take pictures of Pokemon. It's so lovely. Also, if there's a new Pokemon Snap, I feel like I need to get that because it's so lovely. It's so lovely. Apparently I think there's been multiple Pokemon Snaps. I don't know. I played one in the 2000s, I believe, and it was fantastic. But yeah, that idea of just exploring and seeing the Pokemon and getting to know them through like just exploration and taking pictures. Except in this show, we're not taking pictures. We're at a resort, and we basically just get to hang out with these characters and these Pokemon and see their everyday struggles, which are small and beautiful and in a way feel really large because of the way that they connect with us, the viewers. Overall, I would give Pokémon Concierge out of 5 stars. 6 stars out of 5 stars. That's how good it is. It's so great. It's just, I love it. It's maybe my new favorite Pokemon thing, other than Ditto. I love Ditto the most. Well, not the most. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. Jeff, sorry. Thumber Showed, sorry. Liu Kang, sorry man. But I love this show, I think, the most of some of the Pokemon properties I've seen. Obviously, the anime holds a dear place in my heart with Ash because that was my first foray. Those are my thoughts overall. I really, 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 really enjoyed this, and I hope we get more of it because it was really special. And I know I'll definitely be watching it again. And if you haven't watched it, you should watch it too. It's really great. Grab your favorite Pokemon, curl up, and give it a watch. All right, friends, that's it from me. And until next time, stay nerdy. Bye! Gotta catch 'em all. Or just gotta resort them all. Gotta concierge them all. Doesn't work the same. I tried.